Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I figured I'd tap in with y'all to continue discussing what's going on in the boxing world. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We about to hit that 3,200 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. We're gonna be speaking about Vergil Ortiz versus Erikson-Lubin being official. We're going to speak about Yoenis Tellez wanting the Jaron Ennis fight. Then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the building thus far. I already see we got a bunch of comments in the building, man. We're going to address them one by one. Shout out to the stranger with the first comment of the day. He says, Shakur confirms Lamont is next. Hey, man, hopefully that's the truth. Hopefully, especially considering the fact that Gervonta Davis went the way he went. I would love to see Lamont and Shakur Stevenson have a good fight. You know what I mean? I think that'll be a very great fight for the lightweight division, and the lightweight division needs it right now because, unfortunately, there's people in the lightweight division that's not willing to make the biggest fights, in this division. You know what I mean? So hopefully that does happen. Shout out to the boy, the stranger, for that comment. Forever Dedicated says, salute Mazuma. First time I seen you, crazy mad your last live. Keep speaking the facts, Zuma. He said I was mad my last live. Nah, man, I was just speaking my mind, bro. I was just speaking my mind. That's all. Yeah, I mean, it could come across as, angry or whatever the case is, but trust me, I have good intentions. Simple Boxing, what up? He said, Jake Paul manager said it's not happening, but I don't know because it looks real. I mean, listen, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm seeing all big outlets, post about it. I've seen Netflix put it on their homepage. So as far as I'm concerned, it is official. So I don't know. I don't know what his manager's talking about. Calm-minded says, Mark, thoughts on Shakur saying despite weight advantage, Jake still can beat Tank? Well, maybe Shakur is looking at it from a, experience standpoint that even though Jake Paul's bigger, he's stronger, he has the weight advantage, whatever the case is. I guess he feels like skills to pay the bills in that situation, and there's nothing that Jake Paul could do that could really concern somebody like Gervonta Davis. And he may be right because, Gervonta Davis, he's going to be a lot quicker than a lot quicker than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Jake Paul is not going to be accustomed to that hand speed that he's going to be going up against. You know what I mean? And he might be able to successfully hit Jake with shit that he can't see. You feel what I'm saying? So maybe he's telling the truth. We won't know. But it's still a dangerous fight for Gervonta regardless, and a risk that didn't need to be taken when there's other big fights in the division. But, that's just my perspective. You know what I'm saying? G Tatted Up TV, what up? Chris Maldonado, what up? Teach in the building, what up? Go 787 in the building, man. Shout out to the people that's in here thus far. Y'all go ahead and hit the likes. You know what I mean? Go ahead and hit the likes. Let me see where the likes is at. We got 11 people. We got 8 likes. Let's get 11 likes. We got 11 people. Let's get 11 likes. Shout out to the people showing love, man. Them subscribers going up each and every day. Coffee Plant, what up? Hassan 7, what up? Nah, we just chilling. We maintaining, brother. You already know what it is, man. We just being consistent as always. Just talking about the sport that we love. You feel me? Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's talk about this. And we're going to talk about Vergil Ortiz overall, man. We're going to talk about Vergil Ortiz overall. We're going to talk about this whole situation. So let me go ahead and share the screen for the people to see. Shout out to the Ring Magazine for keeping us informed of what's going on in the boxing world. And they announced it. They come out with the announcement. Vergil Ortiz Jr. will defend his WBC interim super welterweight title against Erikson-Lubin in Fort Worth, Texas on November 8th, live on DAZN. You see what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, I believe Vergil Ortiz is from Dallas. And from what I understand, Fort Worth and Dallas is only like a half hour away from each other, probably like 30-something miles away from each other. So this is basically a homecoming fight for Vergil Ortiz. So, God damn, that boy Erikson-Lubin is definitely against the odds. In my opinion, he's, obviously on the B side. You know what I mean? Vergil Ortiz got some big plans in the works. You know what I'm saying? And the people that are backing Vergil Ortiz really need him to win this fight. Because if he wins this fight, that'll open up the floodgates to some even bigger fights. And you know they all in the game to get some money, right? So Erikson-Lubin, I hope he's aware of this. He's definitely taking a huge chance, and I salute him for that. You know, Erikson-Lubin done been in there with real monsters, whether we talking about Jermell Charlo, you know what I mean, who was the king of the division at one point in time, and he's currently looking to, you know, reclaim his throne. Then we got Sebastian Fundora, former unified champion of the world. You know, he done been in there with some dangerous opposition, man. So you gotta give Lubin a lot of credit for taking a chance and, you know, believing in himself going into this situation, because this is going to be an uphill battle, man. And from my personal opinion, I think it's going to be an uphill battle in every way possible, whether we talking about, you know, you going to somebody else's hometown, you obviously being the underdog. The politics of boxing is definitely not on your side. You feel what I mean? And Vergil Ortiz has some dangerous abilities that you struggle with in the past, whether we talking about, you know, high volume punching. You know, I think he fell victim to that in the Sebastian Fundora fight. You know, the punching power. You fell victim to that in the Jermell Charlo fight. You feel what I mean? And Vergil Ortiz has a little bit of, you know, each of those qualities. So, and Vergil's a hell of a finisher. You know what I mean? He punches with bad intentions. He could box a little bit as well. Got some good hand speed. You know what I mean? I think Vergil Ortiz has more skills than people give him credit for. So, you know, with all of that being put together, man, Erikson-Lubin definitely got a fight on his hands. And I ain't gonna lie, if Lubin shows up like he did against RDL Holmes, it's not gonna work, bro. You need to get to a different level. You got to tap into a different mindset. Your game plan got to be on point. This training camp got to be on point. Your psyche has to be on point, because this may be the type of fight that you might have to shed blood in order to win. This is not going to be an easy fight for neither one of these guys, but especially for Erikson-Lubin. You feel what I mean? So that's what I think about this overall fight. I love the fight. It's one of the best fights to be made in the division as of right now. And, you know, if Vergil Ortiz comes out successful, then, you know, boxer fans are going to be in for a treat, because we already know, you know, Jaron Ennis is, you know, looking for that opportunity against Vergil in 2026, according to Eddie Hearn. And Vergil Ortiz, you know, he's been stepping up and facing quality opposition back to back to back. So you already know, you know, I'm under the impression that Vergil Ortiz will actually take on the Jaron in this fight. You know what I'm saying? That boy Silks Bando said, damn, we getting a Lubin retirement speech that night, Mark. Damn. Okay, Silks. Sheesh. Bella Faith. Shout out to Bella Faith. I don't see Smoochie in the building, but I see Bella Faith. What's going on? She said, I'm rooting for Lubin. Hey, man, I'm not mad at you for that. Lubin is a hell of a fighter who shows a lot of heart. And, you know, he's had some up and down moments in his career. But if he was able to beat Vergil Ortiz, he'll fuck those plans up and get himself in a crazy position. Crazy position. Might get the Fundora rematch, whatever the case is. I think Lubin understands that. So why not? Why not take the opportunity? Lubin don't really gotta, and I'm gonna keep it real. Lubin don't really got many options to fall back on. You're not gonna get a better opportunity, you know, than this right now. So why not take the opportunity? I think he would have been foolish to not do so. So I like the fight overall, but I wanted to address this. I just wanted to bring this to the light, and y'all let me know what y'all think. So, you know, obviously, Vergil Ortiz and Xander Zayas was popping their shit back and forth on social media. Both of these guys look like they wanted to face each other, but it seems like there was a bit of a dilemma in terms of location. Now, when Xander Zayas had put up, you know, that email that was sent out by Eric Gomez, who's the president of Golden Boy Promotions, the guy made it clear, like, yo, 50-50 split. You know what I mean? We could do this in either, you know, Vegas or California, pretty much saying like a neutral location. And, you know what I mean? We could talk about pay-per-view splits and all that good stuff, right? Xander Zayas is like, yo, I already got this shit set in place. You know what I mean? We already got this set in place. This was set in place before y'all ever even came to be possible opponents. That first title defense, we bringing it back to Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? They had a problem with it. Oscar De La Hoya calling Xander Zayas a pussy pretty much because, you know, he doesn't want to take that offer that Oscar De La Hoya has sent him. But I don't know. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping, but it's like, bro, y'all did all that. Y'all made it such a big problem about fighting in another nigga's hometown or home country. Whole time, y'all turn around, take Erikson-Lubin, and bring him to y'all hometown. You know what I mean? I understand that Erikson-Lubin is, you know, on the B side in this situation. He pretty much got to bend to y'all demands and shit like that. But why was y'all so like against fighting in Xander Zayas' hometown? Pretty much feeling like y'all fall victim to the politics or whatever the case is. But y'all go ahead, y'all turn around and bring Erikson-Lubin to y'all hometown. I don't really understand that shit. And obviously, like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be happening in Fort Worth. Yo, get the fuck out. Dumbass kids. Scratching my sofa. I should beat the shit out of him. Anyways. Sorry, y'all. Fucking cats be getting on my nerves. No, I just found that shit funny, bro. Like, y'all was so against going to Puerto Rico to fight for a world title. So against going to Puerto Rico. So much so that y'all was willing to walk away from the fight just for y'all to defend y'all interim belt in y'all hometown. It's like, what the fuck? Like, if y'all, why didn't y'all give Erikson-Lubin the opportunity to have that neutral location? Go 787 said, isn't it weird that they say Xander got a timeline that's crazy to tell a champ? Right. It's like, nigga, he not see, and that's what made me, that's why I said that they so arrogant. Why are they so arrogant as if they're the ones who, you know, blessing Xander's eyes with an opportunity? If anything, it's the opposite. That nigga is a full-fledged world champion. What you blessing him with? A shot at an interim title? Knock it off. What y'all think? Y'all think y'all champions in your own right? Them interim belts don't count, champ. There's two different belts that Xander and Vergil got. You know what I mean? Like, my boy got a Happy Meal belt. My man Vergil got a Happy Meal belt. You feel me? He got his belt off the kids menu. Xander got the big boy shit. So what is we even talking about? Yeah, that shit definitely backwards. I understand that at all. Y'all made it seem like him fighting in his hometown was such a big fucking issue, but here y'all go fighting Erikson-Lubin in y'all hometown. Basically, the fuck is the problem? Oh, bro, I don't understand, bro. I think Golden Boy fucked over Vergil Ortiz yet again in a prestigious situation. I'm sure somebody sat down with Vergil and was like, "Yo, man, it's a huge opportunity. Y'all could beat Xander, bro. You could beat him, man. You could walk away. You know how legendary it'd be if you went to that man's home country, their young up and coming Puerto Rican star, and you go ahead and you upset him in front of his own people. You know, like, bro, do you understand how gangster that would be? You know how much respect Vergil will get for doing some shit like that, bro. Y'all ruined the opportunity to shoot into superstardom, bro. And I'm gonna keep bringing this up because it was a red flag to me. That boy Vergil over here talking about he hands off with the business, and you know he lets his managers decide how much money he should make. And bro, like you setting yourself up for failure, bro. You pretty much asking to get fucked over by the politics of boxing. You know that these promoters be dirty. You know Canelo done said Oscar was dirty on plenty of occasions. Triple G pretty much had to threatened to sue Oscar De La Hoya to get the money that he was, supposed to get. All types of shit. Oscar De La Hoya done said shit like, yeah, we keep feeding these fighters crumbs so they can stay hungry. That's a Canelo Alvarez quote. He said it on the Breakfast Club. And you gonna let these managers and promoters, talk business behind the scenes. You just gonna trust whatever they say? The fuck? Do you know that these managers and promoters be working together and be scraping bread off the top and be leaving the fighters with the crumbs? Y'all do know that happened, right? Y'all do know that happened. For example, you, the person who's watching this video right now, put yourself in the mind frame of a professional fighter. right? You right there, you listening right now. 1 out of the 27 people in the building. I want you guys to really understand this. And any professional boxer that's taken, has done business, or seen the dirty shit that happened behind the scenes, they could vouch for this. You a professional fighter. I'm the promoter. Well, I'm the manager, right? The promoter don't talk. When a fighter has a manager, the promoter not really supposed to talk to the fighter. They talk to the manager, right? Because the manager is the ones who negotiate the fight purses and make sure that you're getting everything that you need, blah, blah, blah. So the promoter calls me the manager. And it's like, yo, because I've seen where like the managers and the promoters come together to fuck over the fighter, and they both supposed to represent the fighter. But anyways, no, matter of fact, let me switch this up. Let's cut the manager out the equation. Let's say I'm the promoter and you the fighter, right? You ain't got a manager, so you represent yourself. And the network calls me, the promoter, and said, yo, we got $5 million in the pot, or $10 million in the pot. Your fighter gonna get 60%. We looking to give your fighter, the champion, 60% and give your opponent 40%, right? So 60% of 10 million is $6 million, right? Cool. So he doing the math. He understand how much this fighter gonna get, right? Or may possibly get. Cause I don't even think the networks just put the bread up, and then the promoters and them decide how the way they're gonna split the bread. So the promoter says, all right, we're gonna give our fighter 60% of this purse, whatever. So he calls you and says, yo, we got to fight against this guy right here, man. The network really wants this fight. They willing to give you $3 million for this fight. And you like, and a motherfucker like Vergil Ortiz, who don't be check, who make it clear that he don't really be too involved with the business. He just want to fight. He not really looking at them books. He like, damn, that's a lot of money. I'll take it. Promoter's taking $3 million out of that motherfucking budget, putting it in his pocket. Then he's taking the other one and he giving the other half of it and giving it to you. So this nigga's about to get $3 million. He's scraping half of your purse off the top and giving it to you. And not only that, he's gonna take a percentage of that $3 million that you just fucking made to fight this guy, whatever the percentage is, 10%, 15, 20%, whatever the case is. So he's scraping 3 off the top, off the rip, and whatever the fuck you make on paper, they taking that shit too. And if you don't request to look at these books or know the money that's being generated and shit like that, you get fucked over just like a motherfucker like Vergil. You move like Vergil, that type of shit will happen to you. I promise you that. So Vergil need to step the fuck up. Everybody keep talking about the decisions Boots is making and shit like that. Golden Boy not putting Vergil in position how they should be. There's no reason why they won't hesitate to finesse you. Facts. That's why niggas like Mike Tyson, who done fell victim to the politics of boxing, had a grimy promoter like Don King and shit like that. Say, yo, all you need, especially when you at an elite level, you don't need no motherfucking manager. You just need a lawyer. And the government taking theirs too. That's a fact. Talk about it. I already done gave y'all the game. I'm giving y'all a little bit of an insight on the business of boxing. You think that because these niggas making $1 million that they coming home with $1 million? That's not the case. I had Rolly Romero on live confirm this to be true as well. Mikey Garcia did an interview on Ellie Seckback, Dickie and Ash channel and said that out of the $1 million you make, you probably only coming home with 300,000. Then he broke the whole shit down. Rolly was like, yo, that's pretty fucking accurate. You only coming home with like 300,000, bro. After you pay trainers, taxes, promoters, if you got an advisor, whoever, assistants, strength and conditioning coaches, all that. $7K out the drain. Facts. Niggas don't want to talk about that though. And depending on how the way these contracts look, sometimes I've heard managers be I've seen contracts where managers are getting 33% of fighters' paychecks. A fucking third, bro. Now I've seen managers take 30%, but they pay the trainer and all that shit. Okay, that's fair. Whatever. They taking the 30% that come out the fighter person. They compensating the assistants, the cornermen, the trainers and all that. So I guess that's fair. You taking that 30%, you paying all these other people. All right, cool. But I've heard of managers taking 33% of somebody's paycheck, and then the fighter has to go ahead and separately pay his cornermen and all that. Bro, I'm telling you, 33.3%. I done seen shit like that. I heard shit like that. I heard fighters talk about, damn, man, I didn't know no better. These motherfuckers want to retire because they can't get out of them shitty-ass contracts that they signed. Don't forget those belts as well. Yeah, between 1% to 3%. But what these sanctioning bodies don't tell you, and shout out to Andre Ward for letting the people know, you can negotiate. You can negotiate the percentage that you give to these sanctioning bodies. You know what I mean? They don't want to let you know that, but you can negotiate it. The fuck? So you telling me, right? If I become undisputed and I gotta pay, yeah, you can negotiate you can negotiate your percentage. Yes, you can. Especially if you a big money nigga. They definitely will. They don't want to let you slide. And probably the 1% they'll make off of you will be more than 3% that they'll make off of a high risk, low reward type of fighter. But anyways, so you mean to tell me, right? When we gotta pay taxes, all this shit I just told y'all, I assume Canelo pays a flat fee. That nigga probably paying a percentage of 1%. Nigga probably paying 0.08%. Nigga got a sweet deal. But so you mean to tell me, let's say every sanctioning body charges 3%. Right? So 4 belts. I'm undisputed. 3% each. 3 times 4, that's 12. So I got to pay these sanctioning bodies more than I would typically pay my trainer. Think about that. Trainers, you typically get 10% of a fighter's purse. And I think they should be paid more than everybody that's on the list, to be honest with you. Who helping them get prepared for the fight? Who's sharpening their tools? Who's making them better? Who's putting them in position to win? If you become undisputed, like if you a Usyk, a Crawford, an Inoue, a Devin Haney, if you got 4 belts and you 3% each, that's 12%. These sanctioning bodies, the 4 sanctioning bodies together are making more money than the trainer. Shit is crazy. But that just goes to show you, trainers are the most fucked over people in the sport of boxing. They're the only people. They're the only people who can't have a contract with a fighter. And a fighter could just wake up one day after being with them their whole career and say, fuck them. And there's nothing that they could do about it. Arrow and Derek James fell out over a pay-per-view split, I think they said. Yeah, it was either that. I got to read that shit over again. It's been a while. It was either that or, from what I understand, Derek James and Errol Spence, let's say, I don't remember what the number was, but let's say that it was 10%, right? 10%. And one day out of the blue, and, Earl was paying Derek James 10%, and apparently he was giving him bonuses too and shit like that. But then one day, after the Terrence Crawford fight, he only gave Derek James like $250,000. Derek James asked the right question. Where's the rest of the money? Because if Errol supposedly got something along the lines of $25 million, right? So if he got $25 million and Derek James is entitled to 10% of it based off of a verbal agreement, because you can't put anything in contract, then that would mean that you owe Derek James $2.5 million. Right? Simple maths. And Errol Spence replied and said, "Oh, well, that's what Al Heyman told me to give you, so that's what I'm giving you." Derrick James like, "What the fuck?" All right, bet. Straight took him to court. And I don't know exactly what happened with that situation. I don't know if they settled it or that's still ongoing. I don't know. But what I do know is Derrick James said something along the lines of he want to open up the books and see how much Arrow was really getting paid, because he probably like, damn, this probably ain't the only time I've been fucked over with my money. Bad Boom Balloon, what up? He said, yo, I'm in Mexico right now. What's up, y'all? What we talking about today? Shout out to my boy Bad Boom Balloon in Mexico. That's a beautiful country from what I saw. Better stay your ass on the resort though, cousin. Don't be out there in them trenches. I heard it get a little crucial for them U.S. citizens, man. Being exploited by the police and all that shit. All that stuff. I just know Eddie Reynoso comes home with a big bag. Yeah, we know that. Eddie Reynoso is a millionaire in himself. That nigga, as a trainer, got more bread than most of these fighters. But, you know, that, and look, I don't got much respect for Canelo. You already know how I feel about drug cheats and all that. But one thing I can say is that Canelo carried it the right way. You know what I mean? He carried himself. He's a very loyal dude. You know, Canelo loyalty speak volumes. Think about when, you know, he was with Golden Boy and Al Heyman pretty much took all the Golden Boy's fighters because Oscar was too busy putting shit up his nose that he wasn't paying attention to the contracts. And the whole time Al Heyman, very, very shiesty, but smart move, I guess, as a businessman. And to pretty much be a good businessman, you got to have some shiesty shit in you. But he was just using De La Hoya for the, you know, for being, because, you know, Al Heyman's not a promoter. So he used De La Hoya to promote his fighters. And then once he got in a position to move on or actually do better, he took all the fighters with him. And De La Hoya thinking they're all his fighters whole time. They signed to Al. They not signed to him. You feel what I'm saying? I said all that shit to say what? Shit, I'll just be talking. Oh yeah. Canelo the only one that stayed. All them niggas left Golden Boy, bro. Danny Garcia, Amir Khan, fucking they had Deontay Wilder, the Charlo brothers, all of them. All of them. Oscar De La Hoya had the promotional game in a fucking headlock. Oscar had the promotional game in a fucking headlock, but because he was too worried about his addictions and all that shit, he let Al Heyman take all those fighters with him, and that's when he started the PBC. Facts. Al definitely finessed him. He used him and got the fuck up out of there. But Canelo, the only one that stayed. And he forgave De La Hoya for being in rehab during the Mayweather fight, and he stood with him all those years, bro. Until, you know, Oscar De La Hoya showed who he truly was and he broke apart from him. But Canelo done lost 2 times with Eddie Reynoso. He even had some underwhelming performances that could have easily went the other way. And Canelo never blamed his trainer for that. He always held himself accountable. He never shitted on his coaches. He never turned his back on his coaches. That nigga's so loyal that his original coach was Chepo, the old head. But then, you know, he got a little bit older. He can't, you know what I mean? He pretty much retired. So then he chose it. He could have went anywhere. He could have went and trained with anybody else after that. But he kept it in the Reynoso family. You got to respect Canelo for that. That loyalty different, man. Wasn't Errol under Golden Boy too? I don't know if he was under Golden Boy. He had signed with Al, but they may have been using. They may have used Golden Boy to like be like the face. You know what I mean? Or at least like he gave Golden Boy the promoter role, but I don't think he was contractually signed with Oscar. I know the Charlo brothers were, and a lot of those big time PBC fighters, they was under the Golden Boy umbrella. Wasn't Broner with Golden Boy? Yes, he was. A lot of people don't know that, but he was. Like, go look back at Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan. That's a Golden Boy event. Go look at Zab Judah versus Danny Garcia. That's a Golden Boy event. Like, I'm telling you, like, Golden Boy had the game in a headlock in those times. The early 2010s, bro. Oscar was sleeping at the wheel. Hell yeah, Ramon. That's exactly what happened. That's what happens, bro. So you better take care of your businesses so your businesses can take care of you. If you don't, then the opposite is also true. Yeah, I mean, if you don't take care of your business, they not gonna take care of you. You know what I mean? Oscar built on his two biggest stars and the biggest fights they had. Are you referring to Ryan Garcia, bro? Because that was disgusting, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That was before Ryan was known for the drug cheating and all that. But when he got folded by Javante, he quit in front of them people. De La Hoya and them left Ryan at that press conference by himself. R3 says, who do you guys think Xander will fight in his first title defense in PR? Well, according to, the updates in these WBO rankings at 154, Santillan just became a strong contender in the WBO. So I'm under the impression that they already setting up Santillan to be somebody that Xander fights in December. Don't be surprised, man. It's looking like it's going to be Giovanni Santillan. I believe that's his first name. But Santillan definitely his last name. So Robert Garcia's fighter, Santillan, is going to get another opportunity to fight for a WBO title. Who the fuck is Salt Poppy? Oh, don't be bringing up them fake boxes, balloon. What's wrong with you, man? How you in rehab for the biggest fight of your fighter's life at the time? Yeah, and I seen him on Ak and Barack, whatever the fuck those guys' names are. He was talking about how he pretty much was forced to go to rehab, and he was set up by the higher ups. It's like, Oscar, stop it, man. Stop acting like, oh, I never had a problem. Bro, you was shoving bottles up your ass and was so high that these bitches, you had prostitutes having making you dress in drag, and you think you ain't have a problem, cuz? Niggas, bitches, porn stars losing bottle caps in your booty, and you over here talking about you ain't never have a problem, bro. You're sick. The fuck is you talking about? Huh? You could have easily waited until the day after to go check into a motherfucking rehab for the Canelo fight. It just goes to show that your loyalty ain't there, brother. You only care about yourself. Victor Money 87 says, Mark, look at the guys that stay at the elite status at the end of the day. 90% of them are good dudes. That backstabbing shit always catch up to you. That's facts. Yeah, man. Like, Triple G. Look what happened with Triple G. Triple G pretty much got brought up by Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez promoted Triple G better than his own promoter. Way better than his own promoter, Tom Loeffler and all. Man, Abel Sanchez was the voice behind Triple G, saying Mexican style and all that shit. Bro, Abel Sanchez rocked for Triple G so hard. He was telling Canelo that Triple G is Mexican style. I'm like, God damn, that's some disrespectful shit. But he rocked behind his fighter, and then as soon as Triple G signed for that big bag over at the Zone, he said, fuck Abel, and went and got a whole nother coach who ain't do shit to get him in that position for that big deal. Nothing. Can you imagine that? You build a fighter brick by brick. You build him into the champion that he is, and then when you finally about to get that big blessing in terms of getting to a bag, that nigga say fuck you and share the bag with somebody else who ain't put in no work to get him where he is, bro. I would be infuriated. Woo! This nigga said the comment someone made on your live saying Oscar's G-string is drenched in moisture. Let's let's run free of my brain. And I need to remind everyone else watching so I'm not alone. That is fucking hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. I don't know who said that. Somebody in the chat gotta let me know who said that. That had to be a day one. That sounds like some shit J Cash should say, but I don't know. Or Slime. Sound like something one of them would say. Shout out to the boy Led If Connor with the $2 super chat. He said, do you think Vergil pressure too much for Lubin? I think it is, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's not necessarily because of Vergil himself. Erikson Lubin, in my opinion, has a bad habit of, starting off a fight well, and then, once, the pressure catch up to him, or once he get a little fatigued, he goes outside of the game plan and decides to fight fire with fire. I think that if Vergil Ortiz makes it his business to apply pressure effectively throughout the fight and give Erikson Lubin no chance but to sit there and fight, the pressure will be too much for Lubin, and I think that'll be exactly why Lubin might fuck around and get stopped. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, that's just what I personally believe. So, yeah, I think that the pressure will be too much for Lubin because typically when Lubin is pretty much when he feels like his game plan ain't working or he's not getting the results that he wishes that he could get, he abandons the game plan and, turns into Macho Man and tries to fight you up off of him. So I think that if Vergil gets him, he thought he stayed disciplined versus Ramos. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I thought he lost to Ramos for one. But that's actually a great point. He did stay disciplined for Ramos. I think Vergil brings a different type of pressure than Ramos, to be honest with you. I think Ramos whooped some ass now. I don't know. I think Vergil's a little bit more intense. I think he's more explosive than Ramos. I don't know. That is a good point. You know what I mean? But just based off of of course, I always like to go back and watch video before, I make these assumptions. But I've seen Jesus Ramos fight. I've seen him open a can of whoop ass on Joey Spencer not too long ago, right? Gave Joey Spencer his first L, beat him up brutally. But Vergil Ortiz, he got a different type of intensity when he applying that pressure. You feel what I mean? The volume different, the aggressiveness is different. I think it'll be a tougher challenge. I think that I personally, and I could be wrong, maybe, I seen Shakur Stevenson tweet that he don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Vergil. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Vergil neither. Lubin done been around the block. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I think that Lubin, I can just see Lubin getting out of character or, abandoning his game plan when, the pressure start catching up and trying to trade fire with fire, trying to fight Vergil up off him. And I can just see that shit going left from there. He going to give Vergil exactly what he want and Vergil going to line him. That's what I think. But as I watch when the fight gets closer, I'll continue to watch film and, I'll come up with a more detailed analysis on the situation. I like to watch these guys. I like to watch both guys, in their recent fights, and then I'll visualize the both of them fighting, and then I could pick up on things that they could both capitalize off of. But I got Vergil Ortiz beating Lubin. Who's there in the comments? Shy Rider, West Sider, what up? He says, salute Mazuma TV, late to the party. I really like that Lubin scrap. He may shock us all. Dude is nice. I mean, that's very much possible. Lubin could definitely rumble. And maybe this is the fight where he's able to put it all together to fuck up Vergil Ortiz plans. So salute to the boy Shy Rider. Vic Damani says, so bro, what's the deal with trainers and contracts with fighters? Is it against the standard or looked down upon, or is it straight up illegal in the face of commission? From what I understand, it's not legal. Yeah, I mean, it's not legal. I don't know exactly what let me actually look into that, because from what I heard, shit. My fault, y'all. I'm not asleep. I'm not asleep. Hold on, because ChatGPT just told me something completely different. I don't know. Talker SD, what up? You thought my boy nodded off. Now I'm just looking down at my phone, brother. I'm doing some research for y'all. Bro, like Google is saying that boxers and trainers can and often do have contracts. Bro, I've never heard that. Well, I'll call my pop real quick. San Diego watching. Shout out to the West Coast, man. Salute, salute. Love from the East.
Hello.
Yo, Pop, quick question. We on live right now.
Mm-hmm.
So fighters and coaches, they can't have a contract, right?
No.
So why the fuck I'm going on Google and they saying that they can't have a contract?
No.
And why is that? The Muhammad Ali Act?
I can't really tell you why is it, but Association of Boxing Commissions don't recognize contracts between coaches and fight, and this is why so many coaches get burned.
Yeah, we talking about that right now.
I was just on actually. I just got up because of the panel, but no, yeah, it's a shame. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame because a lot of these fighters actually are the ones doing the what do you call it? The hard work.
You mean the trainers, right?
The trainers do all the hard work, and then the fighters, you know, yes.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure. Pop, my fault.
No, you good.
All right, Pop, love you, man.
All right,
bye. See? Told y'all. No, we just chopping it up, bro. You know what I mean? We just chopping it up. We just talking about why I believe. So he just said like the fucking boxing association or whatever the case is don't recognize contracts between boxers and trainers. And trust me, I know that's true for a fact because you don't really see trainers suing boxers for leaving them or going against a contract. You don't really hear that. You hear promoters suing fighters. We hear fighters suing promoters. You never hear coaches suing fighters. Do I think Lubin is a harder fight than Xander? For Vergil? Depends on who they going against. Are you talking about for Vergil? I'm assuming you saying that. I mean, I wouldn't know because he hasn't fought neither one of them, to be honest with you. But if you ask it for my opinion, he may be harder than Xander because, you know, he's a more experienced fighter. You know what I mean? He's also skilled. He probably has a bigger punch than Xander Zayas, to be honest with you. But Xander Zayas' youth, his size, his output, and it looked like to me Xander's bigger than Erikson-Lubin. You know what I'm saying? So he may present some bigger problems than Lubin. Lubin's more experienced, so he's more experienced at a higher level, so he may give him looks that Xander might not give him, or he may make things more difficult than Xander would. But you know, I think Xander brings more dangerous attributes to the table. Do I got Verge beating Lubin? Yes. Shout out to my pop in the building. Yeah, I just needed to ask you that, pop, because fucking, ChatGPT, it could be reliable at times, but you gotta really watch what they be telling you, because shit be cat, bro. you gotta proofread. AI is very intelligent, but it has a lot of flaws as well. Yeah, bro. Fucking ChatGPT told me Dalton Smith will beat Subriel Matias. I wanted to curse ChatGPT out. I was like, bro, you don't know. I just wrote, you don't know shit about boxing. Start apologizing and shit. ChatGPT started apologizing and shit. Well, you don't know shit about boxing. Bum ass ChatGPT. And fuck wrong with you? Shit had me hot. Straight up. Let me see. Ramon says it's like a right to work state. They could fire you for anything just because. Yeah, basically. Yeah, it rubbed me the wrong way when trainers do that to fighters, especially when they day one trainers, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that Andre Rozier and Daniel Jacobs situation, that shit rubbed me the wrong way too. I ain't gonna cap. Andre Rozier was with Daniel Jacobs from the very beginning. Daniel Jacobs get to a nice little bag. He say, fuck Andre Rozier. And then when he washed up and ready to be on his way out the sport, then he want to bring Andre Rozier back to his corner. I'm like, bro, this shit right here, bro. And trainers be so forgiving too. Like, bro, I could never understand that, bro. And then a lot of fighters be caught up. A lot of fighters is dick riders too, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Like groupies. Because, and I see this happen all the time. My pop, if he's still in the chat, he could vouch for me. A fighter will go to a trainer just because a trainer got a good fighter or has like a top fighter in boxing right now. Not because they feel like they won't. These fighters be groupies so heavy that they will go to a trainer not because they styles mess up or anything like that, but because they got a top fighter in their stable. Oh, well, so-and-so trained with him, so, I want to go train with him too. Like, huh? Ain't Derrick James a prime example? Yeah, like Derrick James got fucked over by Errol Spence, man. He got fucked over by Errol Spence. That nigga was with Errol Spence when from the very beginning, when people ain't even know who he was. He was helping him as an amateur. And Earl Pop had to pay Earl some money to stay to keep working with Derrick James. You know what I mean? He got Earl. He still with Earl through the whole car crash accident, the whole car accident situation. You know what I mean? Went through all of that. And Earl get his biggest payday, and somehow, some way, low balls Derrick James. Crazy. Yeah, and then Frank Martin, he pretty much be on some shit where it's like, yo, Earl, I'll go wherever you go, Earl. I'll go where you go, Earl. Shit is crazy. Shout out to the boy Led If Connor with the $2 super chat. He says, does Benavidez get his first KO at 75 versus Anthony Yarde? This is a great question. I appreciate you asking me this. And we chopped it up not too long ago, especially when they made the fight official. And I think David Benavidez has a style to stop Anthony Yarde. And he has the abilities to, drown Anthony Yarde. I think that Anthony Yarde is most effective when he's fighting at close range, right? David Benavidez, who I'm sure is gonna have the reach and height advantage. Y'all could fact check that for me. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that myself. Let me look at these guys. Pause. Let me see. It doesn't say what Anthony Yarde's reach is for some reason. But considering the fact that he's 6 foot, he may have a 6 foot reach, give or take. But David Benavidez is 6'2" with a 6'2.5" reach. So He is taller. He may have the reach advantage as well. So I think that, and David Benavidez, in my opinion, has a world-class jab. That's just me. I mean, when I watch him fight, his jab is absolutely phenomenal. I think people don't talk about that enough. And David Benavidez is improving after every fight. You feel what I mean? I think that if he keep that jab on Anthony Yarde and he doesn't allow Anthony Yarde to, close the gap or whatever the case is, if he's able to push Anthony Yarde back and get those combination those combination punches off when Anthony Yarde is against the ropes, I think that he could outwork Anthony Yarde. I could see Anthony Yarde getting tired in the late rounds, like 9, 10, and he could possibly get stopped in the 12th round. Yarde reaches 72. All right, that makes sense. So, sounds to me, David Benavidez got the reach advantage. Not that crazy of an advantage, but it's an advantage. So, I think that if he takes that close range fight away from Anthony Yarde, you know what I mean, keeps that jab on his face, punches in combinations, all that good stuff, and, he's able to fatigue and overwhelm. If he's able to overwhelm Anthony Yarde with the pressure and the volume and get him to fatigue by them later rounds, he could stop him around 11 or 12. I genuinely believe that. You say you're nervous Yarde catches him with something big. See, anything can happen in boxing, and Anthony Yarde is, a solid puncher, but I've seen David Benavidez showcase a great chin. Pause. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen him get hit by David Morrell, who ain't no pillow puncher, bro. He's not a pillow puncher. And, continue fighting like nothing happened. I've seen him get dropped. I thought it was off balance against Ronald Garreau, but nonetheless, it was a knockdown. And then get up like nothing happened. You know what I mean? David Benavidez truly has a different mentality. And unless Anthony Yarde just sparks him on one shot, I don't really see David Benavidez getting discouraged and folding up when Anthony Yarde hits him. I just don't see that. Anonymous says Benavidez drowns him, in my opinion. That's what I think happens. I think he's going to stop him late, though. Like 11 or even the 12th round. I can see it happening. Yo, Ghost, I think you left a comment and I forgot to get to it, man. ChatGPT said Tank beats Crawford. Wow. See, even ChatGPT don't know nothing about boxing. That's why you got to tune into Mazuma TV. Let's go, champ. Hit the fucking likes, man. Hit the likes. If ChatGPT ain't going to tell you, I'm going to tell you. What Angel Garcia said, what Danny Garcia dad said, I know everything and you know nothing. Angel Garcia crazy as shit. Benavidez is younger and have enough experience. Yeah. I mean, Anthony Yarde done faced top guys. Sergey Kovalev, Artur Beterbiev, but David Benavidez is experienced in his own right. Not necessarily at 175, but he got champions on his resume too. Tank versus Paul, you finna watch it? Depends if I got anything to do, probably not. But then I don't know. I kind of want to see, cause I feel like if either one of them get their ass whooped, I'll be happy. So I ain't tripping. Why do guys like Benavidez and Canelo have a lot of success in the pros despite lack of amateur experience? Were these guys just super seasoned at a young age? Yeah. Basically, Benavidez, the way that he was Canelo been a professional since he was 15 years old, so he was able to get those fights in Mexico, learn little by little. He was built up the right way. You feel me? De La Hoya, before he was signed with De La Hoya and all that, he was getting built up, fighting those guys over there, getting them good fights under his belt. Then he went over to Golden Boy and they understood that they possibly had a star on their hands, so they took their time, molding him as well. So by the time, Canelo Alvarez got to his early 30s, he already had like 15 years in the game. So all that experience you got, especially at a high level, you bound to go somewhere. So it may have been Canelo starting you know, in the pros early and just learning as he went. And by the time he reached like his athletic prime, 28, 29, 30, he was ahead of the curve. Now, David Benavidez, the reason why they said he didn't have much amateur experience because the motherfucker couldn't make weight. You know what I mean? He had a serious eating habit, like a food addiction. And what really helped David Benavidez was when he was 15, 16, he was sparring world champions. What was it? What was his name? Latif Coyote, who was a champion at one point in time, I believe. He sparred Kelly Pavlik, Triple G. He doing all this when he a baby. You sparring all those dudes, bro, you bound to get better. That's experience that, you know, that shit that you just can't wake up and know. Experience is something that you just can't buy. You know what I mean? This ain't 2K where you just pay for and slide your gamer sliders up. Like, no, that's not how that shit work. Benavidez had opportunities to grow in the gym by constantly sparring elite world-class fighters. So they both were able to have a lot of success in the pros, but it came up differently. It's like Canelo learned on the job, aka the pros, you know, from his youth all the way to his young adult years to, you know, pretty much peaking in his, you know, late 20s, early 30s. And David Benavidez, he learned in the gyms because he wasn't, you know, he wasn't disciplined enough in the amateurs to, you know, get in the ring and fight in those tournaments like his brother was, you know, Jose Benavidez Jr. But you sparring all these world champions and you become, and you being in your, you know, late teens, being chief sparring partners for world-class champions, you definitely going to learn some shit. So, you know, definitely, that's actually a great question. That should have been a super chat question, for real, for real. Let's go, champ. He said, plus David took tough fights in his pro career. He didn't fight bum after bum like Berlanga. Damn. That's hilarious, but it's true. Yeah. David was over here fighting Porky Medina, tough ass. Ronald Gavril, who, you know, he wasn't no slouch neither. He was young as hell, punching on Anthony Durrell. To be real with you, how old was David Benavidez when he punched on Anthony Durrell? Shit, let me see. Nigga was 22. Come on, bro. Nigga was 22 when he was punching on Anthony Durrell. Jay Leon Love, Porky Medina. How was Dennis Dugden, who done sparred everybody and their mom? Yo, you know who I was training? Let me see if I can find him. And my pop here, he could tell you. Azamat Umar Zoda. He like one of the only niggas that David Benavidez didn't stop early on in his career. I trained him for a couple months before he ended up moving to Florida. He was like a world-class journeyman, bro, but he could punch like a son of a bitch. He was from Tajikistan? Yeah. If y'all look at him, look, I'm sure I trained this guy for a few months. He just walked into our gym one day. He was sparring our teeth, with no headgear on. This guy right here. He never did a pro fight with me. But look at the guys he fought. He fought, let me see. Junior Yonan, I know who that is. Kevin Newman, David Benavidez when he was 7-0. Shane Mosley Jr., Kevin Newman again. Like he was just fighting any and everybody. And bro, he had the most awkward style. This dude right here had the most awkward style, but punched so fucking hard, bro. Donald Banks, what up? But yeah, bro, I trained him for a few months. He said BoxRec did him dirty with that pick. Yeah, though. But that shit, that was cool. That was cool. Romer Alexis Angulo, who, man, he beat the shit out of Romer Alexis Angulo, bro. Ronald Ellis beat Ronald Ellis ass too. Kyron Davis, that's Breadman fighter. David Lemieux. Now, David Lemieux was washed up, to be fair. He ain't had no business being in there with David Benavidez, but it is what it is. But then looking back at this fight right here, like you fighting Caleb Plant and you 26. These niggas don't be fighting for world titles till they 28. So that's how that's how he was able to, excel in boxing, but without having the biggest amateur pedigree, because he took them chances early. He put that gym in the work. He put that work in the gym early. And he rolled them dice, cuz. That's all that was. Shit. Yeah, he definitely fought Ronald Gavril early. If this was 2017, he had to be like 19. Let me see. Wait, where the fuck is that? Oh, right here. 20 years old, bro. Insane. Insane. Sheesh. Gotta put some respect on his name. I wasn't here earlier. You got Boots Washington, Tellez. Well, I didn't even get to talk about it. We just been, we just been talking. We didn't even get to talk about that. So apparently, according to the reports that I was seeing, let me actually try to pull this shit up. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. My fault, y'all. I am tired. I'm thugging it out with y'all right now. Let me see where it's at. Damn, where the fuck is that? Was it, who page was it on? Was it Hassan Wells? Yo, niggas is cooking that long chin bastard. That tank groupie with that long edge bottom lip. They frying him. That shit's hilarious. That's what the fuck you get for thinking you know it all. Fuck, nigga. And he wanted me to take back what I said so bad about him. That nigga could eat the biggest dick on earth. Anyways, let me share the screen for y'all to see. And this is according to Everything Boxing. According to Everything Boxing, Tellez wants the Boots Ennis fight. This is a quote from Yoenis. Tellez, according to Everything Boxing. He says that Jaron Ennis fight could happen anytime. I'm going to be crowned WBA champion soon. And Ennis moved up in weight. That fight can happen, and it will be a great fight. I want it. And this is according to the Ring magazine. Tellez, the interim titleist, is expected to be elevated to full WBA champion. Ennis will be his mandatory, and a win would make him a 2-division world champion if Terrence Crawford does not return to 154 pounds. I don't know if the WBA is going to wait on Terrence Crawford to possibly come back down to 54. I don't know what the case is. I personally believe that Bud is not coming back down to 154, but it sounds like Tellez knows something that we don't know. He seems pretty confident in saying that he's going to be elevated as a WBA champ soon. Why would he say that? He must know something that we don't know. Maybe he knows. Maybe the WBA has told him that at any moment Terrence Crawford may vacate his title. I don't know what the case is. But one thing I do know is that I told you guys, out of the 3 routes that Jaron Ennis may choose, I think the WBA will be his best route. And I told you, and I was speaking it. I don't know if I said it on here, but I was speaking on it with the guys. Yoenis Tellez has a WBA regular title, from what I understand. If Bud vacates, Yoenis Tellez is going to be elevated to the full status champion. Boots, who recently had a WBA champion after the WBA title after defeating Amante Stanionis, I knew that he would have a great position as he moved up to 154. So I think that it was only a matter of time before, when he, getting into the division, that the WBA would be a strong advocate of Ennis fighting for their title. You feel what I'm saying? And I was actually requesting that Jaron Ennis fight Yoenis Tellez as his first fight at 154. So that way when he grabs that WBA regular title, which I think he can defeat Yoenis Tellez. I think he'll provide some obstacles, of course, but I think he'll beat Yoenis Tellez, and then he'll have that regular title. And when Bud vacates or whatever the case is, stripped, whatever, then that'll make Boots a 2-division world champion, and that'll put him in position to be part of some unification fights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that Tellez wants smoke with Jaron Ennis. I think that that'll be a great fight between these two, to be honest with you. And I think that'll be a great opportunity for Jaron Ennis to showcase his abilities at 154, how he's completely revitalized, and how he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the junior middleweight division. So I like this fight. I definitely like this fight. So shout out to the boy who actually brought that up. Angulo was tough too. Yeah. Let's see. How was Pavlik as a fighter? I'm trying to learn more about him. Watch his fight with Jermaine Taylor. That's going to let you know exactly who Kelly Pavlik is. Damn, I lost the fucking comment. Yeah, Sarah Ali says this nigga Tank got on my ass on IG. How? What happened? He cursed you out in the comments or something? Oh, that was Lamar who said you got Boots washing Tellez. I think he's fully capable of doing so. From what I've seen in Yoenis Tellez fights, I think he's very capable of doing so, man. Yeah, I mean, like I watched that Julian Williams fight, man. I did watch that Julian Williams fight, and I thought Julian Williams was giving him a problem early on in the fight with the jab. You know what I mean? And this was a over-the-hill Julian Williams, if we being honest. You know what I'm saying? I seen him have success, utilizing like his ring IQ. Yoenis Tellez looked like he was having trouble at certain points throughout the fight. And if you're struggling with an over-the-hill Julian Williams, no disrespect to Julian Williams. I met Julian Williams, real cool dude. Been in the same gym as him multiple times. Then had guys from my team spar him to get ready for fights, all that. But I can only imagine with Jaron Ennis, the type of success Jaron Ennis will have against Yoenis Tellez. You know what I mean? With the world-class jab that Boots got, whenever he want to use it. His athleticism, his, counter-punching abilities, his punching accuracy, his punching power, his explosiveness. Like, I can really see Yoenis Tellez getting broke up by Boots, man. You said, nah, in the DM. Nah, you lying. You got screenshots, Yasir? You capping. J-Rock ain't no slouch. He definitely ain't. That's a former unified world champion. What I'm saying is he not what he used to be. You feel me? I think after the Jason Rosario fight, shit just went on the downhill for J-Rock. So it looked like Javante on Instagram promoting the fight. So for the people, so for the Gervonta Davis fans that was like, oh man, we don't believe it. We don't believe it. Man, they deleted it off Netflix. They don't believe it. All right, well, Tank just posted it now. So what the fuck we talking about? So y'all gonna hold y'all boy feet to the fire? Or y'all gonna be bragging about how much money another nigga getting? What y'all gonna do? Man, I don't want to believe this, man. I think it's cap. No, I think it's cap. I don't think it's cap, nigga. So now what? A little depressing. Tank and Shakur probably won't fight. Now you know how I feel, brother. Welcome to my world. And then when I'm over here expressing how I feel about the situation, people want to talk about how much money another nigga getting. Bro, why are you worried about, bro? As a boxer fan, that shouldn't even be a concern. Why is you trying to be understanding of a nigga ducking? Why is you trying to be understanding of a nigga taking money over over a fight that the fans want, going against the fans' wishes, as if we not the reason why you getting paid? Niggas be like these boxers be thinking that the money that they generate just come out their ass or something like that. No, the reason why you able to get these checks is because these fans are investing into you. I'm trying to tell you, bro, these niggas is weird. Yeah, bro, these dickheads be on the wrong side of history every time. Should be insane. Yeah, Tank, he don't want no problems. He don't want to compete. He told y'all that his biggest fear is losing. He'll do anything to not be put in that situation, even if that means fighting a social media boxer. God damn. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have a problem with this exhibition if Tank actually, went on to face these guys, make these big significant fights happen in his division. But guess what? He don't care to make those fights. So you fucking right, I'm gonna criticize him. These are the times I wish we had UFC structure. I see what you're saying, brother. I understand. Tank said he could care less about legacy and the fans. That's so like if you don't care about legacy, that's fine. That's your prerogative, I guess. But to say you don't give a fuck about the fans when they the ones who put you in position to create generational wealth, it's like the biggest sucker shit I've ever heard. Oh, these fans don't care about you. They care enough about you to put money in your pocket, you dumbass nigga. Like what? Oh man, just let these guys get their money, man. Just let these guys get their money. Boxers don't. These fans don't care about these boxers. Bro. How could you say that? I don't know. I don't know. If I ain't got nothing to do that day, then I probably would watch it. Why not? Niggas ran out of angles, so they went to the most extreme one. Well, people die in boxing every day, which they do. 13 boxers on average pass away every year. I understand that. That's a valid point. But they take it to the most extreme. Man, look what happened to this guy. Look what happened to that guy. And these guys, they ain't got no money. They ain't got no money, bro. Tank done made a million times, bro. Stop acting like this nigga this nigga been rich for years now, bro. We requesting a minimum of like 3 fights to be made in his career. This nigga put his middle finger at us and give us the most bullshit fight that he could ever come up with, just because it come with a 50 ball, or whatever the case is. Shit is crazy. But we can't really be too mad because Tank told us off the rip that he ain't on that shit that we on. So all this shit a waste of breath, for real. We got any last questions before we get up out of here, man? The undercard should be fire at least. You know who got a fire undercard low key? Jaron Ennis. Yes, he do. Jaron Ennis got a fire undercard. Khalil Cole versus Jesse Hart. Woo-wee! That's a slept-on banger right there, bro. Oh, my God. I hope I could find a way into that motherfucking arena, bro. Jesus Christ. I need to see if I can get a media pass or something. I gotta talk to Jamil, man. I gotta talk to Jamil. Do I need to play media guy to get up in here? My son gonna have to stay with he gonna have to stay at the crib for this one. Khalil Cole is Jesse Hart, bro. Fire. Then we got another slept-on banger. Tamir Smalls versus Jose Roman Vasquez. Jose Roman Vasquez is the one who upset Jalil Hackett. The return of Zaquin Moses. Dennis Thompson, who's an exciting fighter in his own right. Guido Villanello is going up against, the guy who just most recently lost to Richard Torres. He going to be going up against an undefeated contender. Well, undefeated prospect, to be honest with you. Alexis Barrier? I don't know. He a Canadian southpaw, 6'4". That's interesting. But, hey, the undercard look a little fire there. I ain't going to lie to you. I never got to see Zaquin Moses fight in person, so sounds cool. Shock versus Cool Boy on Thurman Fundora. Undercard solid too. Oh, that's official? Andy Cruz might creep on there. I hope he do. It make all the sense in the world. Why not? He trained in Philly. The fight's in Philly. His stablemate is the main event. Why not? Khalil Cole, Jesse Hart to open the card. Andy Cruz in the co-main event against whoever they match him up with Jaron Ennis versus Luis Malima. Oh, yeah. That's solid. Zaquin Moses and Tamir Smalls on the prelims. Fire. And for those of y'all who don't know who Tamir Smalls is, man, y'all missing out. That kid could fucking rumble. The fact that they saying he 5'9" is crazy, though. That nigga is not no 5'9". Boxer be lying about heights, boy. He taller than 5'9". I'm 5'9". He taller than me. He closer to 6 foot than he is 5'9". From what I heard, Mordecai taking a voluntary next. It won't be Cruz most likely. Yeah, I wouldn't expect Raymond Mordecai's first defense to be against Andy Cruz. Nah. They not doing that. They want to at least get a title defense in, whatever the case is. They not fighting Andy Cruz off the rip. That's too risky. They don't want to be one and done with the titles. Or possibly one and done. I think Andy Cruz beats Mordecai, but yeah. The Shock versus Cool Boy on Thurman Fundora is dope. That's dope. I got my boy Scooter, man. I got Stephen Fulton winning that job. Andy Cruz moving like Lomachenko. He's 6-0 and he about it. Hey man, when you got the type of amateur experience that they got, ain't no reason to really be building. Ain't no reason to be fighting these journeymen and come on, dog. You know you got it. You just gotta go out and perform now. Ray Vargas versus Carlos Castro on the card too. That's Carlos Castro, right? I'm tripping. Yeah, Carlos Castro strong, bro. You gonna watch the Tellez fight on Saturday? I might. I don't think I got anything going on. I'll be with my son though, so we'll see. Hit the likes, absolutely. He said, shit, one of my homeboys on BoxRec listed as 5'7", and I'm 5'10", and he taller than me by at least 2 inches. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Some people do that on purpose. Believe it or not. Some people do that on purpose. Just to trick their opponents, especially when there ain't much film footage out there of them. Or they're like they floating under the radar. Trust me. People lie about their heights, the stance they fight at, all of that. I've seen people lie about where they from just so they could get a good ranking in the country. So like let's say you a welterweight, right? And you was really born in the US. But if you put that you were born in Puerto Rico, you will most likely have a higher ranking being ranked in Puerto Rico than when you would being ranked in the US. So make your name look better. You feel me? Like if you rank number 50 in the country at welterweight, that's like, But if you rank number 8 or number 6 or number 4, maybe even number 3, whatever the case is in Puerto Rico, that look more impressive. Like, oh shit, he one of the best. For me, so I seen niggas do that shit too, lie about where they from or what country they fight out of. All sports lie about height. They say KD is 7 feet, but he's not. Well, they say he was 6'9", but every time they put him next to a 7-footer, he looked taller than them. I seen him take a picture with Jokic. I seen KD take a picture with Jokic, and I'm like, y'all sure this nigga 6'9"? Like that nigga grew while he was in the league or something. I remember like Paul George came into the game like 6'6", and while he was in the league, he grew like an additional 3 inches. I'm like, huh? Now they got him at 6'11". I remember I used to watch KD growing up. KD has said in the past he claimed to be 6'9" so he could play the 3. Okay. Yeah, KD definitely 7 foot. That nigga's a cap artist. You into basketball or football? Neither, to be honest with you. You know, growing up in middle school, I started liking basketball in like 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. Right? In high school, I used to love basketball. I used to play all the time. Like I fell out of love with basketball after high school pretty much, but I was always on boxing. So like during that time frame, like 2012 to like 2016, I could tell you all about basketball, but I done fell off. It's been almost 10 years since I really paid attention to the game. I just pay attention to like the big events, like the finals, the playoffs and all that shit, especially if the Sixers involved. But football, not really. I pretty much ain't got no choice but to know about football because Philly been snapping these past couple years in football. But I don't really pay attention to that neither. You know what I mean? Go Birds, though. You feel me? But anyways, I'm going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love. Y'all can go ahead and hit the likes button on the way out. That'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We're looking to hit that 4K mark by the end of the year. So whoever contributes, thank you very much. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna be at y'all 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night to continue speaking on what's going on in the boxing world, man. Until then, I hope you have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.